Hello, everybody. Welcome to our broadcast. We are 5 minutes earlier, but I hope you tune in and we're going to learn some interesting topics about our next course, the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program. So, still we have a few minutes to go, and I'm very happy to share some information with you. I hope you are all safe at your homes with your families and take this time this morning to learn some interesting information about the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program. My name is Andy Rodriguez, and I'm the Regulated Canadian Immigration Consultant and also the consultant in charge of the Nexus Canada. So if you haven't done so, please, I would appreciate that you can subscribe to our channel. Subscribe to our Nexus Canada channel for information and videos about immigration to Canada. We're trying to cover different topics that might be of your interest if you're looking to work, study, or travel to Canada. Today, we're going to be basically covering the topics that we're going to be including in our next course that we're working on. It's the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program. And if you want to participate in the beta group, I suggest you to just write the comments below this presentation and just follow the instructions. So you can get a coupon for our pre-launch course with a very good discount. So in 3 more minutes, we're going to start the presentation. I hope you enjoy. If you have pen and pencil and paper, please gather so you can make some notes. If you have any questions, send it through the comments. If you want to share your information with family and friends, please click the share button. And also, if you want to be up to date with more information and more videos and presentations, just click the bell so you get the notifications. And that way you don't miss any of the information we're going to provide on a weekly basis. Okay? So 3 more minutes to go for the presentation. We're going to try to start this on time. And again, any presentation, remember to follow the information below. Just click the bell to get notifications of new videos or live stream broadcasts I'm going to be sharing with you in this channel, and spread the word. All right, so we're here for the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program and the course. The idea that we're doing is basically try to get feedback from you during the creation of the course, so we can answer your questions and tailor the course in a way that can help you immigrate to Canada through this pilot program. For that, we're going to use some presentation here. And just in 2 minutes, we're going to start the presentation. Please don't hesitate to write your name in the comment section. Where are you from? Your questions during the presentation, and we're going to get back to you after the presentation to answer those questions. So the presentation will start very soon, just 1 more minute, and I want you to get ready with your notes and questions in the comment section. And we're going to start. All right, I hope you can see me there, see the presentation clear. I'm going to start right now, okay? So the Rural Northern Immigration Pilot Program. This is the online course that we're preparing right now. And in the first section of the course, we'll be addressing what is the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program. So basically, we're going to oversee in the section 1 the definition of the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program, an overview of what is the components of the program, the eligibility requirements, which are the participating communities that are part of the pilot program. We're going to address also the creation of a profile as an applicant, information about accepting a job offer from one of the employers located in those communities, how to prove that you intend to live in the community. We're going to address that also in the section 1 of the course. Information about receiving a community recommendation. And the last lecture in the section will be, where do you want to live in and work in Canada? It's a good screencast exercise on how to determine your best choices based on your profession and your personal interests and also family interests. So those are the topics we're going to be covering in section 1 in the course. So what is the RNIP? The Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot is a community-driven program, which means that the community is the one that is driving the program in the pilot program. For that reason, some communities have to apply to the federal government to be approved to participate in this Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program. And they have to meet certain requirements as a community, not only from the economic point of view, but also from the point of view of how they're going to support their foreign workers or immigrants that are going to come to the city or the community. It is designed to spread the benefits of economic immigration to smaller communities by creating a path to permanent residence for skilled foreign workers who want to work and live in one of the participating communities. So the idea is that it benefit the economic activities in the smallest communities. Normally, people, immigrants, go and concentrate in the big cities, but sometimes, I can tell you that's a personal note, sometimes you have better opportunities, job opportunity, standard of living, lower cost of living, when you go to small communities in countries like Canada. So the idea is that now the communities, at least these 11 communities, are driving the program in a way that they can cut and bring the type of foreign workers with the skills that they need to help with their economy activity. There's a video about rural Canada. I'm gonna include the link in that video in the comment section later on. But I want you to go over that video because we talk about the benefits of living in rural Canada. Overview, the process. In this lecture, we're gonna be talking about what is the process for immigrants that want to come to Canada using the pilot program. There are 4 steps to applying for permanent residence under this pilot. And it's important to understand that you need to meet both. There's the IRCC eligibility requirements, and also there's the community-specific requirements. So you as a foreign worker, as a potential immigrant, need to understand that you need to go and check what are the requirements from the federal point of view, the Minister of Immigration, and what are the requirements for the community point of view. And you need to you're gonna need to meet both of those requirements. Okay. You need to find an eligible job with an employer in one of the participating communities. There are going to be different ways you can approach it depending on the requirement of the community. But when you get a job, it has to be an eligible job, and a job that is approved with a community and with an employer that is already subscribed to this kind of program with the community. So it's important that you understand it's not any job, it has to be an eligible job for that. Once you have a job offer, you need to submit your application for recommendation through the community. This is very important. Once you secure that job offer from the employer that is part of the community and is participating in the program, then you will be able to submit your application for recommendation. So now you got the employer, now you're going to have to submit recommendation from the community. If a community recommends you, basically give you a nomination, like they do with provincial nominee programs, they're going to have then the immigrant or the potential foreign worker going to have the possibility to apply for a permanent residence. And it's important to understand that you're going to have to go through the process with a permanent resident. Normally, it's going to be a paper-based application, but you'll be able to apply once you have all the documentation. So you have the job offer, and you have the recommendation or nomination from the community. Then you're ready then to apply with the requirements and the documents that you're going to need for the permanent residence. Each community will also have its own additional eligibility requirements, as we said before. Job search process, the job search is not the same. You're going to have to check what the community recommend as the procedure for job search, because in some communities you'll be able to contact the employer directly. In other communities, you're going to have to go through the community process to contact the employer. So again, you need to get that information. Community recommendation application process. You need to be able to understand what is the process for that community for applying. And the information will be available on its website. Most of the communities are opening or are creating websites to address the concerns or recommendations and the guidelines for the pilot program, but not all of them has website yet. But they're working on that. Most of them has their website. So we're going to see that during the material that we're going to be covering for the course, okay? Eligibility requirements. Who can apply? And that's the question many people are going to ask. Who can apply for this? Well, there's going to be the federal requirement. There are the IRCC eligibility requirements. And for that, you're going to have a qualifying work experience, or you have graduated from a publicly funded post-secondary institution in the recommending community. So you either work in the community for an employer already, or you have graduated from an institution, a publicly funded post-secondary institution in the community. So those are the two parameters for that. You're going to meet or exceed the language requirements. The requirements won't be like express entry. They got probably a little lower requirement, but still you need to meet those requirements at the community level. And the first point also, the qualifying work experience also can be that you also have a experience in a occupation that the community is looking for. So that's another point in relation to work experience. So you need to meet or exceed the educational requirements. Again, you're going to have to fulfill those requirements. They won't be as high as express entry, but you still need to meet them, okay? You need to prove that you have enough money to support your transition into the community, or we call it proof of funds. Again, this is going to be based on the guideline for the community. Might be not that much in comparison to the express entry requirements, okay? You need to intend to live in the community, and for that, you're going to need to prove your intentions to live in the community, and you need to meet the community specific requirements. So you need to be able to meet the community specific requirements beside the federal requirements, okay? Talking about that, community specific requirements. Each community will have additional requirements for applicants, and that's going to be spelled out in the website. You need to learn about their community specific requirements. You need to go to the website, get all the information, learn the step 1, 2, 3, whatever they require, just follow to the T. So When it comes to participating communities, where are they located in Canada? It's very important to understand which are the communities. So for that, we have a little list here for you. We're going to have one of the community will be North Bay in Ontario, Sudbury in Ontario, Timmins in Ontario, Sault Marie in Ontario, Thunder Bay in Ontario, Brandon in Manitoba, Altona, Rhineland in Manitoba, Moose Jaw in Saskatchewan, Firthorn in Alberta, Vernon in British Columbia, and the West Kootenay community, this region in British Columbia, include the Trail, the Castle, Roseland, and Nelson. So those are the 11 communities that have been approved to participate in the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program. What you can expect from a community. This is something that you as an immigrant will ask yourself, okay, what can I expect from this community? Well, you have to understand that this pilot is a community-driven, meaning that the community will have to assess prospective candidates who, number one, best fit the economic needs of the community. That's what they're looking for. Two, they have to have a genuine employment opportunity that meets the community requirements. And three, have the intention of staying in the community. So those are the three criteria that they're using to assess a prospective candidate when it comes to the community evaluation. You're going to have to then, eventually, when they do all the assessment, recommend the candidate for permanent resident to IRCC for a final decision. And so they do a recommendation, what we know normally as a nomination, okay? Then they're going to help connect the newcomers with settlement services and mentoring opportunities, which establish members of the community. Once the process of the permanent residency is concluded, imagine that the person applied successfully and got a permanent resident status, then the community will help you connect that immigrant with settlement services and mentoring opportunities in the community. So you're not alone. Once you come, they're going to continue with helping you so you can establish yourself and your family in the community. And that's a very good thing, okay? It's important to understand that you need to be able to create a profile. And for that, you're going to need to take certain things into consideration. How to be ready before applying. It's important that you gather all the information before you apply. So what we're looking for here is the required documents. And the required documents are going to have to include the RNIP application form, the immigration form 5911, the completed IMF 5894, the offer of employment form, and that's information going to be between the employer and you trying to fill out this information. You're going to need your language assessment results. I'm going to talk about that in the course. What test results are evaluations for language tests are acceptable for this. Work experience documentation. You need to prove your work experience through reference letters, pay stubs, etc. Proof of funds. You need to prove that you have the available funds through bank statements, document from financial institutions, unless you qualify for the international graduate exemption. If you are international graduate in the institution, in those communities, then you might have some exemption to this rule, okay? You're going to have to provide an educational assessment from an approved institution that do the educational evaluation for you. You're going to have to provide for a resume, and we have a lecture in the course that talk about how to prepare a resume with the North American and Canadian standards. Also, the community will provide you some sample. In the course, we're going to go even a little deeper to make your resume to stand out even better, okay? And you're going to need to provide any other supporting documents. Visionnaire and supplementary information. It's important that you understand that sometimes you're going to need additional information. And in that regard, we're going to have to review the following. You need to have previous work experience in the community documents, including pay stub, professional references, business address, and contact. Documents proving residence in the community, house deed, lease agreement, bill payment, address, etc. If you have family in the community, you need to supply their name, their address, how long they have lived in the community, and their relation to you. If you have family accompanying you to Canada, you need to supply their name, age, and relation to you. It's important to understand that you cannot, in your initial application, you need to include everybody in your family that is coming to Canada with you. You cannot just include two or three. No, it has to be the whole family that are planning to come with you. And we're talking about direct family members, spouse, kids. Okay. If you are currently in Canada, then you need to indicate that immediate family members you intend to add to your permanent resident application. Okay. If you're already in Canada, again, you need to include the people, your family that you want to be part of your permanent resident application. You cannot omit that information. That can bring you a lot of troubles later on. So you need to be truthful when it comes to filling out that kind of information. If your spouse has work experience in selected industry, you need to supply the pay stub, references, business address, and summary of duties performed. Certain communities will gonna have a list of industry that they prefer. And if you or your spouse have that kind of experience, you need to prove it through that kind of documentation. So it's important to have that in mind. If you have traveled to a community, you need to supply your previous itineraries, hotel bills, plane tickets, and any other information that can verify you travel to the community. But you do some, you've never been in the community before, but if you travel to explore the community and you like it, then you can make a portfolio of all these documents to prove that you make an exploratory trip to the community, and that can be seen with good eyes for the committee that's going to do the evaluation. Okay. You have a driver's license, Canadian or foreign, you need to submit a copy of it with your application for recommendation. Another important document to show. And if you have, you decide to use a regular Canadian immigration consultant or a lawyer, somebody who is authorized under the immigration laws, Canadian immigration laws, to represent you, you need to provide the form IMM 5476 with the information. That's an important note. And any documentation provided to the RNMP coordinator or community recommendation committee must be copies, okay? All originals will be required for permanent resident application to IRCC. So most of the time, these coordinators, RMP coordinators, they're going to provide you with, you're going to request documents that are copies. They just want copies. You need to keep the originals for your permanent resident application, okay? It's determined that you meet the requirements of the RNMP, you will be given a nomination letter from the Community Recommendation Committee via email. So you're going to get a notification through email. Most of the communication you're going to have is going to be through email. You need to make sure that the email address that you put in the information is correct, is accurate, and you can access to that. Failure to do that might give you missed opportunity for you, and normally it miss the chance to get the nomination, okay? Email is the preferred method of communication with the communities. Important to check. Timeline. You also need to understand the timeline with these communities. Eligible applications will be retained for a limited period of time. It's gonna change between communities. Some communities will ask you that they're gonna keep the application for a year. Other community will ask you or tell you that they're gonna keep the application only for 6 months or for 3 months. It depends. That's why you need to check community after community, because the timelines might be different between those communities. Applications will be reviewed by the Community Recommendation Committee on a monthly basis. They're gonna be like you do an express entry at the federal level. They're gonna do the community on a monthly basis. They're gonna be reviewing their applications, and through email they will contact it if you qualify or not. Job application timeline will vary depending on the employer and the job you are applying for. That's important to understand. And they have of course, high volume of application and expression of interest. So basically, if you haven't heard from them within 6 weeks, then it's likely that you are not being considered. So you send your application and 6 weeks pass and you haven't heard from them, then it's likely that you are not being considered. But remember, depending of the timeline that they have, you can apply again until you meet the timeline that they have, like every 6 months. You need to wait until the next 6 months and then you send a new application. Something that you need to keep in mind. Accepting a job offer. So in accepting a job offer, what you need to know, and in this case, you're gonna need to meet those requirements for the job offer. When you fill out the offer of employment to a foreign national, that immigration form, the 5984, you must have a job offer for an occupation listed in the National Occupational Classification NOC matrix, and we have a lecture covering the NOC and how to determine your NOC for your occupation in the course. Your offer must be the same skill level, one level above or one level below the NOC that applies to your work experience. So a very important note you need to understand. But there's a note. However, if your experience is NOC skill level D, then the job you're being offered must be in the same occupation. And that's an example that you can understand it better. So if your NOC is 0, a job offer, when you're talking about managers and above managers, work experience in NOC 0 or A are applicable, okay? So one the same and one below. If you have your NOC A job offer, then your work experience can be in NOC 0, that is above, NOC A, that is the right one, NOC B, that is below. If you have a job offer in NOC B, your work experience can be in NOC A, that is above, NOC B, that is the same, NOC C, that is the lower, okay? If your job offer is in NOC C, your work experience can be NOC B, that is higher, and NOC C, only those two. And finally, if your NOC is in D, as a job offer, you have to have a work experience in the same level occupation, okay? So again, they're gonna cover that in one of the lecture, but it's important for you to know that from the beginning. We're gonna do, during the course, an overview of how to fill out the form in 5984 over a screencast. Are gonna be included in the course. Intend to live in the community. How to prove it. So, how are you gonna convince them that you want to go? Well, to the community, the applicant must intend to reside in the community or within a reasonable community distance of the community. So you need to be in the community or very close to the community. You need to meet the requirements that as described by the program. Criteria: living in the community, have lived or studied or worked in the community. So, or either you live in community, and that way you prove that you're gonna stay in the community, or you have lived, studied, or worked in the community. Those are two criteria that can help you convince the committee that you really want to live in the community. Or you have family members living in the community. That's another criteria that they use to determine that. Or you or your spouse have work experience in a selected industry, in selected industries that are favored by the community. The community is good in, let's say, just for example, mining, and you have work experience in mining, or your spouse has the work experience in mining, then you know you have a chance to meet that criteria. Okay. You have traveled to the community and have networked with employers, chamber of commerce, etc. So you have an intention. You did an exploratory visit to the community. You contact people, employers, chamber of commerce, settlement services. So those are the criteria that can convince the committee to understand that you really have a genuine intention to live in the community. Receiving a community recommendation. What you need to consider going to be general requirements. For all community applications, you must prove that you meet all the requirements for the pilot. You have an eligible job offer. And if the community recommends you, then you can apply for a permanent residence. So those are the general requirements, okay? Now, when it comes to the community requirements, each community has its own recommendation process. You're gonna check the community website and they will tell you how the application process works, what documents you'll need to apply, and then when applying to a community for recommendation, you'll be asked to provide the supporting documents. Remember, not to provide original versions. You will need those original versions when you apply for a permanent residence with the IRCC. And you need to provide the copies, clear copies. Sometimes, if it's going to be letter from employment, have to be clear with the signature of the employers and all the information, okay? After submitting your RNIP application form, your application will be reviewed by the Community Recommendation Committee. To determine that you meet the requirements of RNP, you will be given a nomination letter from the Community Recommendation Committee via email. You know that already. And using the nomination letter, you can then apply directly to the RCC for your permanent residency. And this application will be paper-based. Immigration, Refugee, and Citizenship Canada, basically that's IRCC, will do further review, including medicals, financial documents, and criminal record checks. That's what they do for the PR application. And once you receive your permanent residency, you can make arrangements for you and your family to move to the community. And of course, the community will tell you the next step in that process of moving, okay? And our next live stream will be covering the topic of who can apply to the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program. So don't miss it, please. For that, I highly suggest you that you click that bell below so you get a notification when we're gonna do our next live stream. I appreciate that you being with us for this presentation, quick presentation. But basically, we covered just this first section of what the course we're addressing. Thank you very much for participating in this live stream. And for the people that are going to be joining later on, just to check the recording, please, you can still send your questions through the comment section. Give likes to the video. And just write down in the comment section that you want the discount, the pre-launch discount. Subscribe to the channel. And that's the best way you keep in touch with us. And I understand. I have, thank you for Hilani, how I pronounce that. Thank you for following us today. And Surat also from Nepal. Thank you very much. So, from India, from Nepal, I appreciate that. I will be sending you the registration link so you can register and get your coupons discount. When we launch the course, you're going to get a big discount and also an opportunity for do some assessments for you. Thank you for joining us today. And please subscribe to the channel. Share this video with your friends and family. And also, any comments, any questions, please don't hesitate. Thank you very much for joining us in this section, and we hope we will see you next time. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And we will see you in the next section when we're going to cover who can apply for the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program. So be ready with more questions, and have a great day. Be safe. Okay? Take care. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.